creepy. So today we're reviewing something a little bit different, something a little bit weird. This is the DC Comics Dark Knight's Metal Batman series in custom LEGO minifigure form. Now these are a little bit strange, a little bit demented, a little bit twisted, and there's been a lot of clamor about them. And what I want to do is I want to review these and just let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you guys think of these characters? And then I'll describe at least how these figures are and if they're even worth looking at. Let's start with minifigure number 1. This first character is the Dark Knight's Metal Batman, One Who Laughs, and this is such a creepy design, to say the least. This is such a bizarre figure, such a bizarre concept. Essentially what it's doing, it's taking the best of Batman, the worst of Joker, combining it into one character, and this is what you have. And it is so terrifying, absolutely horrifying of what this character represents. And I don't want to get into any of the comic book stuff, but what I will say is these chains, just to give you an idea, these chains are meant for Robin minions, and basically like they're attached like dogs, and it's just so creepy. And I will say, just for this design, I forget who actually first created this. This might have been UG Customs. I could be wrong on that though. You guys can let me know in the comments. This is done really well, especially for an unofficial LEGO. I really do like this overall design. It's done very decently. It's got some custom printed molds, great printing throughout this torso. It's done with a lot of precision. There's no slop on it, and it's very nice and contrasty. Even the face is so weird and just creepy. I'll take this off. The spikes actually that are on this custom head, this mold, are really sharp, and I know we would never see LEGO actually do this character, but even if they did, you would have to see them come up with something different for this, because it is really sharp on there. I mean, legitimately. Like, I could probably poke through my skin if I really was not being careful. Alright, it's hard to take that off, and I don't want to break anything. He does have eyes underneath there, so you can see that. But great overall printing. I like the fact that this is printed with that chrome paint. You even have some great printing on the back of this design. He has like that weird, I don't know, whatever kind of outfit that is. And I could push this down a little bit more. And you can see that collar piece, which is so nice to see. But I have to give this one a couple of thumbs up just for the attempt and the design on this. It's a very interesting character, and I think they did it, represented it in LEGO fairly well. Next minifigure. This is Dark Knight's Dawnbreaker, Batman the Dawnbreaker, and this is kind of like a little bit of a bizarre story, and I don't know, I'm not very in tune with it, but what I will say is essentially it's like Green Lantern became bad, and he overpowered himself, and basically took on this new form. He's not a good guy, I will say. He's definitely not the typical Batman that's normally represented. This in particular form, and I'm really starting to dig some of these individual custom molds on this. This actually shows up really well. I love this printing. I love the custom design helmet. You can see there, it's not just a helmet, a regular helmet with a couple things slapped onto it. It's actually custom designed, custom molded, and it shows up really nicely within this minifigure. It's done very well. Great contrast throughout this whole character. I love all the little details throughout the whole thing. Transitions seamlessly from the helmet all the way down to the toes. He has 360-degree printing, which is really amazing, and it's very detailed and unique. The only thing I don't know if I'm 100% sold on is the face print with the purplish hue. I don't know if that's really accurate, but I would honestly be able to switch that out with something else, and it would look really good as a custom figure. So I think these are a great start. I don't know what company's making them, but and I'm sure they stole the design from some actual person who cares. But for what they are, they're actually done very well for an unofficial knockoff. Next minifigure. Okay, again, this is another different version of the Dark Knight's Batman. Essentially, this is Batman of Earth -12, and this is a Batman that acquired the powers of Ares, and his main villain, or the person that he's always fighting, is Wonder Woman. So a little bit different on the overall character, but the same thing goes for this one as the other ones. What is so amazing is the level of detail on these, which is almost unheard of for these knockoffs. This is something that is so great. I really wish LEGO would do stuff like this, because this is what the fans want. And unfortunately, we probably will never see them, because these are a little bit darker versions of the traditional Batman that we normally see. The part that sticks out to me is this fantastic sword that he comes with. Look at this weapon accessory that's in here. I don't even know what all that stuff is on there, but it's done with such care, and it's the actual mold. They don't just try and take something else and make it his sword. This is the sword in his comics, so they had to create something entirely new, which is crazy. They never do that. Same thing with this helmet. This helmet is the helmet that he wears in the comics. And this is actual hard plastic. It's not that flimsy, stuff that kind of falls apart. He comes with two heads, and you can interchange this. This one is with the one with the eyes, which works really well, especially with that mask right there. But if I take this off, just like that, and I plop this one on there, you can kind of see, give it a little bit more context. And I'm not going to I don't like that one at all, because that's the one without the mask. This is the one that just looks so menacing and devious. I just really do like this one right here. He looks creepy, he looks scary, he looks like a force to be reckoned with, and the printing design on this thing is just top notch. You can see the Wonder Woman symbol right on there, his arch nemesis, and 360-degree printing that is so seamless throughout this whole thing. Absolutely unheard of for these unofficial LEGO minifigures. So really great design and such a good detail on this. I'm really digging these guys. I can't deny it. Next minifig. Well, I'm going to be a little bit picky on this one, just because the first three were really good. This is the Batman Red Death, and I'm not going to pretend to act like I know anything about this character. What I will tell you is what I know, what I see, and what I see is okay. It's not bad. It's same concept as the other ones. These are all custom molds, and they're done very well. It's actually, you don't have any paint that's oversprayed. You have very clean lines throughout this whole character, and no extra pieces of plastic. It's done very well, just based on the helmet print for this individual character. You can see this also comes with an extra head right here. I'm not too happy with this head. It kind of looks a little bit generic, and so we're just going to ditch that. And I'm sure that's what he looks like maybe when he takes his helmet off. But this head print, or this helmet print, it looks good. My biggest concern with it is the actual coloration for the mold on the head versus the color that's on the torso. And it looks different to the point where it looks like it's something entirely separate. It doesn't feel like it's uniform. And if it was a little bit closer to that print, I'd be all over it. I think this thing would look amazing. That's the part. And one thing with these unofficial plastics is you kind of have like this translucent look to it, and that definitely shows up on this one. I do, with that being said, that's the only negative. Besides that, I think it looks really good. I do like how the eyes fit within there. The mask is done with a lot of detail. Looks great. Great printing, just like the other ones throughout the torso, 360 degrees. Even has printing on the back right here. And I think this is somewhat like probably a character that's maybe like the Batman and the Death character and Flash, like combined into one. At least that's what my guess is. You guys will probably, flame me in the bottom, but this is not terrible. It's definitely the weakest of the four so far, but let's see what the next one entails. Next, minifigures. This is another villainous version of Batman as a member of the Dark Knights. This is the Drowned, and this character is probably my least favorite character, and this is just as far as the design of the actual character. Nothing to do with this actual form. I think the form is actually done fairly well. Looks like it represents, I think this one's name's Bryce Wayne, I think. Looks like it represents it pretty well, at least in Lego form. It's believable. It's believable that maybe Lego, if they were to do it, this is how it would look. I will say the finishing touches for the custom mold on the mask is not quite as clear or not as good as some of the other ones. And I think that's just a natural progression with the gold on the black. It doesn't look as clean, or it looks a little bit more hokey than some of the other ones would. This thing is also, this trident right here is super duper sharp. You can clearly see this is a custom mold, not something Lego made, and it's definitely something, if you stepped on, it would be ouch city. This overall printing throughout the torso is believable. I do like the fact that they use black arms on top of this. I guess that is a black torso too, but at least they did like all the green and gold painting on the inside, so it almost looks like it doesn't look harsh at all. It's done very well. This also goes very neatly from the top torso down to the bottom legs. That looks really believable. And then if I take the mask off, it's not as great looking. I think this character is probably supposed to look a little bit more feminine than what she actually looks right here. But with that being said, nonetheless, still horrifying. And then, well, let me take, I guess, this off again. Right here. A little bit of printing on the back. I do like the fact that they use, like, I guess, the gold throughout the whole character. So it does make it look a little bit more uniform and a little bit more cohesive. So this is an okay figure, but not my favorite. Next minifigure. This character's name I am not going to say because I would almost guarantee that I would get demonetized. But you can kind of gather who this character is based on his overall look. He's a combination, if we're going off of villainous Batman and we're tying it into the Justice League or the Dark Knight version of Justice League, you can kind of gather who this probably would be. The overall printing design, this is actually a little bit better than some of the other ones. I would say this is very close in line with this one right here, the Merciless Batman. I do like this. The main reason is because the helmet print is very close to the coloration on the torso and the legs. It looks very, very similar. It's a little bit off, but very similar, or similar enough to make it believable that this is something Lego would actually produce. Even though, based on this character's name alone, you would never see Lego produce this thing. Very interesting look. Very nice printing, great transition lines throughout the whole front of the torso, even continues onto the side, which is really nice. And one thing that you don't normally see this, you don't see the torso, side torso usually get any treatment because the arms usually cover it. However, in this case, it is on there and it looks fantastic. So hats go off to them. This is such a great look, and I love how they actually created this into a Lego minifigure form. Whoever originally created these designs, I really want to give them a shout out. So if you know who came up with these first, please let me know, because I want to give them a shout out because they are done so great. And it's just kind of a shame that one of these companies just stole their design and put it on there. But either way, this is such a great finish to all these figures. I would give this one 2 thumbs up. Alright guys, it's that time of the video. There is one figure somewhere on the screen that is just not quite right. I need the top 3 subscribers to let me know which figure is wrong or missing something, and put it in the comments below, and I will give you a shout out in the next video I do. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, you can help us take a gander.